in jail. I don't know how you're doing it.
Not well.
Just don't want to depend on him, I guess. I think that's everyone's fear.
I miss your eyes. Your nose.
I like yours.
That's crooked. Maybe I can get beat up in here and someone will punch it so hard it fixes itself.
Sheriff's office, anybody inside? Announce your presence, make yourselves known.
I love you, and I miss you.
Stop. I love you.
Thursday, July 1st, 2021 wasn't unlike any other in the Halderson household in Windsor, Wisconsin. Living inside the home was 50-year-old Bart Halderson, his wife, 53-year-old Krista, and their youngest son, 23-year-old Chandler. Chandler was a hard-working live-in college student with an exciting life and an extremely bright future. He was pursuing an IT degree at Madison Technical College, was a member of a police scuba diving team, a young employee at an insurance company, and had a job waiting for him at Elon Musk's prestigious company, SpaceX, upon graduating. He was, by all accounts, an overachiever, and his parents couldn't have been more proud. Chandler also liked to cook, and on the evening of the 1st, he'd made a pasta with scampi sauce dinner for his parents. Following dinner, he helped them gather and pack up tools and luggage in preparation for their 4th of July getaway. His parents had informed him over dinner that they were going on a weekend trip up to their family's cabin, 3 hours away in the woods of Langlade County. During the day, Chandler had noticed his father take a bank-wrapped stack of cash out of the safe in the basement. He'd also seen that his parents had taken a handful of bottles from the liquor cabinet. He'd noted both of these things as odd, but didn't think too much of it. After helping them get their belongings together, the three enjoyed some television before they all headed to bed. That would be the last time Chandler would see his parents alive. The next morning, Friday, July 2nd, Chandler's parents took off for the cabin before he awoke. Chandler enjoyed a day of peace and quiet until that afternoon there came a knock at the door. It turned out to be a coworker of Krista's. She hadn't shown up or called out of work that day, which was extremely unusual behavior for her. The colleague had tried contacting her by phone, but to no avail, so he'd come by to make sure she was okay. Chandler told him that his mom and dad had been preparing for a trip up to the family cabin and had left that morning. With everything going on, she'd probably forgotten to call out. Slightly relieved, her coworker left, but kept in touch with Chandler over the weekend to make sure that Krista made it back safe. However, when Krista didn't come to work or call out that Monday or Tuesday, her coworker had a gut feeling that something was wrong and encouraged Chandler to go to the police. When they still hadn't come home by Wednesday, July 7th, Chandler took his advice and filed a missing persons report to the Dane County Sheriff's Office. He advised police that his parents had been driven up to the cabin by a mysterious couple. After leaving the police station, Chandler began desperately reaching out to people by phone and going door to door around his neighborhood, asking everyone if they'd heard from his parents.
Kind of difficult to track them down. And anyone would have like security cameras and stuff like that.
However, no one had seen or heard anything. The next day, July 8th, Chandler's brother Mitchell and his fiancée met police officers at the family cabin to search the premises for Bart and Krista. But instead, they discovered something rather odd.
We probably could get in if you wanted us to. Obviously, there'd be some damage. We'd try to minimize it as best we could. But
Yeah, no, I think that honestly at least makes sense at this point.
Sheriff's Office, anybody inside? Announce your presence, make yourselves known.
Win in the crypto casino. 100 up to 1 Bitcoin and 100 extra spins. Immersion.
There were no suitcases or possessions inside the cabin. Surfaces were covered in layers of dust, and it didn't look as if anything had been moved or even touched. It was clear that no one had been inside at any point in the recent past. With nowhere else to turn, police summoned Chandler as well as his girlfriend Kat down to the police station in the hopes of uncovering some more details that would help them locate his missing parents. Kat's demeanor at being taken to the station is very different compared to Chandler's.
Oh my god, you can see me? So I'm not gonna lie. If you hear me burping, I have a very sensitive stomach. Is it true that the back seats are leather just in case people throw up or pee back here? Oh, we're good. Boys are always so monotone, stubborn. Don't want to talk about steel magnolias.
You just call me a suspect.
Oh, we both really like Star Wars.
The following interrogation footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney, a licensed clinical psychologist, a former licensed professional counselor, and a licensed professional counselor.
So Brian Trump, Detective Dane County Sheriff's Office, we spoke yesterday. Yep. So obviously we're here. We want to talk a little bit about your parents going missing, right, Krista and Bart? Before we get started, just because you're up here, okay, so I'm just going to read you your constitutional rights. Okay, so it's a Dane County issued card that they give us. So I'll just read them to you right off the card, okay?
The detective's decision to read directly from the note card, despite surely having committed the Miranda rights to memory, could be to emphasize to Chandler that being Mirandized is just a formality and nothing he needs to think too hard about. After Chandler has read his Miranda rights, the detectives jump directly into questioning. In missing persons cases especially, it's important that investigators work with a sense of urgency. Each minute that passes makes it less likely that the victims will be found alive. However, not taking the time to develop rapport with someone can lead to their anxiety level remaining high, which would make them more closed off. Taking a few minutes to put someone at ease and try to connect with them can end up saving a lot of time in the long run.
So you reported your parents missing. We got some information from you yesterday. So I guess if you want to start with, let's just go back to last Wednesday. Wednesday. I was with my dad. Yeah, I remember it. It was kind of a bad day. Okay. Why was it a bad day? I tossed the ball, and I smashed the glass. Okay. With the door fell. That set my dad off, and we tried to clean it up. Okay. I don't know about him, but I got injured. But he was mad. He didn't really talk to me too much that day. By the way, a detective at my house said something's happened, and while we were leaving, people were going inside. Is there a warrant for my house? Can they go in?
Officer? Yeah. What are they up to?
I didn't hear that.
What are they up to?
My guess is they want to just ask some more follow-up questions and stuff.
No, they went into the house.
They would go to the office there.
They just went behind it.
Officer Haley just walked pretty much in to the gate, the gate on the outside. She just kind of walked in. I was wondering if everything's okay, because she said something's happened.
Okay.
And we need to go down.
All right. I'll find out what that's about.
Well, has anything bad happened?
Not sure.
It's definitely strange that Chandler would suddenly inquire about a warrant. He looks at the detective with a more stern countenance when asking this question and makes what appears to be direct and sustained eye contact. While sustained eye contact is more of a sign of dishonesty rather than honesty, and looking away periodically can be due to accessing memories, Chandler's almost constant looking away is atypical behavior and suspicious. Just like how his sustained eye contact is a red flag, the awkward, sustained, almost complete lack of eye contact would raise concerns. Here, his eye contact has nothing to do with trying to look open and honest, and everything to do with seeking out any emotions or clues in the officer's face as he responds. For now, they shift their focus back to getting a timeline for what Chandler did on Thursday, July 1st, the last day he'd seen his parents.
It's Thursday morning. I wake up. I kind of just stay in my room on my phone. Help my mom out getting ready in the morning. She left for work at 7:30.
His hand covers both sides of his face and he rubs his chin. These are typically self-soothing behaviors, which aren't unusual for a situation like this. Most people in Chandler's position would be anxious. The pressure from the rubbing is comforting, and his hand and arm serve as a subconscious barrier between him and the detective he's talking to. Chandler speaks very slowly, even when describing routine activities like helping his mom with chores before work. He appears to be thinking a lot and often stares blankly at the floor, as if in a daze. This is a common symptom of emotional cutoff, which results when a person is under high stress or has experienced a traumatic event. Emotional cutoff is an adaptive response that allows a person to better cope with intense situations without falling apart or having an emotional breakdown. Since Chandler was frequently with his girlfriend Kat since Friday, detectives are interviewing both so they can uncover any inconsistencies between their stories. If their recounts of the past weekend don't match up, the two are going to have a huge problem.
Oh, there's a Pooh Bear? All right, you can play with it if you want to. Don't twist my arm. All right. Oh, it's right over there if you want to. Oh, I can get them. Okay. I want to get you with the Pooh Bear. Oh, please don't. Thank you. Just came out for a bit. Please. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Her response to seeing the stuffed animal, then proceeding to cuddling with it on the couch as if she's lounging around her own home, may be indicators of emotional immaturity. When someone doesn't show an appropriate level of concern during an investigation, detectives can interpret this as a red flag. Kat sits alone in the interrogation room for about 20 minutes, looking as if she's battling fatigue. Detectives finally enter, introduce themselves, and make her a generous offer in the hopes she lets her guard down.
So this is George. He's one of my partners. Anthony, the one that you spoke with me yesterday, he's off today, so you get George.
I don't know if you're hungry, buy you 2 cookies.
Is there chocolate?
One has chocolate, one doesn't.
I wish it's chocolate. Are you really? If I eat it, I'll just projectile vomit. Oh, please don't. There's a too emotional also vomit, so.
I know one sprinkles, but you know what? I can put them here if you want it. You want it. That one has chocolate.
This one?
This one.
Oh. I was like...
You sure we want that one?
Kat seems to be in a much softer interrogation room than Chandler. Soft interrogation rooms come from a trauma-informed perspective. When family members, children, or victims of assault need to be questioned by police, they may feel safer doing so in a space that feels comfortable, especially compared to a bare interrogation room. In a regular interrogation room, detectives want the suspect to rely on them to provide comfort, such as compliments, food, cigarettes, attention, rather than the room itself providing comfort.
Go to Fabletics.com today and get 70% off every single thing. It's our biggest sale of the year.
So, some of it is going to be repeat. I just want to make sure that I'm really understanding everything. So, again, give me your time. My time Thursday. Thursday I worked. That's when Chandler told me, I think it was Thursday, that his parents were going up to the cabin with some friends. So he was going to be at the house with the dogs by himself all weekend. Went to sleep.
Friday morning, I woke up. They had left with the stuff was all set out. They remembered the cast. Alright, so Friday during the day, I just played video games, kind of. Yeah, then after work, I believe that was the day Kat came over. After whose work? Kat, she is 5. Her work. 5 is her work when she was off. I believe she came over. She, I believe she stayed with me on that couch that night.
Woke up.